Welcome to Charts Today, US Opening. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Wednesday, the 21st of November, comes to you from London. And we start by looking at the markets. Of course, big moves down again in the US last night. So, looking at the dollar is actually back to looking strong against all currencies on its basket. Euro is still bullish above the cloud but weakening, and against the yen we're seeing that dollar just transitioning to bullish. Sterling sitting at 127, so that's lower against the dollar and down against the euro, so we are just seeing sterling kicking in lower there. Looking at sterling against the Swiss franc, we're lower here as well, and against the Aussie dollar really falling there too. Bitcoin back is really struggling, having fallen below that $5,000 mark, and so just looking very bearish all round really. We have got short-term targets on Bitcoin now down to 3,500, so we still got potentially a lot further to fall. The US markets are about to open in a minute, but we saw last night the S&P 500 was nudging the October low. The Nasdaq actually was below the October low. The Dow's just slightly above, and the Russell 2000 actually slightly above. So it's all about tech at the moment. The futures up 0.75% on the S&P, and the Nasdaq up 1.2%, but we're a couple of minutes away from opening. The FTSE 100 up over 1%, reflected by those US futures, and the mid caps up 0.83%. Germany up 1%, Paris up a third percent. Asia was mostly down overnight. Hang Seng and China just slightly bucking the trend, and crude oil recovering after big falls yesterday. So we are just seeing that steadying up 1.7% on WTI. US nat gas still looking very strong at 4.6%, and gold sitting steady at 1225, still in bullish territory. And if we look at the silver price, much the same picture. US 10-year yields slightly bearish at 307, so just looking bearish on that short term. Looking to Europe, we see most of the FTSE up. The FTSE 100 is up. Johnson Matthey up a massive 11% there, so that's looking strong. And we're seeing here Kingfisher down 2%, so looking weak. This data all coming to from Yahoo Finance, and we just see the prices coming in live there. And again on the 250, Metrobank up 5%, Euro money up 4%, and looking still pretty good on that long-term chart. In Europe, we're seeing Johnson Matthey topping the board there, and on the downside, Nvidia in London really looking very worrying indeed, and a lot of speculation about their position at the moment. Taking a look at the FTSE, at the world indices, we see the Nasdaq just getting updates coming through now, and looking at the world indices, we see Asia was down, and we're just waiting for updates to come in here on Yahoo from the markets. So taking a look at US stocks, we have just got the pricing coming in now. WPP, that's FTSE 100, sorry. If we go to the US market, here we see pricing now coming in, and pretty busy opening to the market. The leaders, Autodesk up 10%, JD up some 3.5%. Nvidia, which really got heavily hit this last few days, is just slightly recovering. Looking at the majors, of course, it's been about Apple and Amazon. Alphabet up 1.6%, Amazon up just under 3%, and Apple, the major concern in the market, only up 1.49%, 1.5%. And here we see the deterioration against the Dow. Remembering this data all coming to you from Yahoo Finance, so that's the relative performance there. Taking a look at some of the other majors, we've got Microsoft up 1.4%, and this chart actually holding up fairly well on the relative strength, not falling any further than the market. Netflix up 2.3%, and Tesla up 1.2%, has held on to its bullish trend, unlike a lot of other stocks here, so looking pretty good. And if we just take a look at the Dow, we see here the Dow today, we've got most stocks up, Boeing up 2.75%, Nike up 1.8%. So we are just seeing a handful of stocks down. And then on the S&P 500 index, we have Foot Locker up 14%, Autodesk we already talked about up 11.5%, and the fallers, well, we are seeing still some pretty big falls. Target has really been falling lately, down 9%, and really moving into bearish territory there. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, of course, it's Thanksgiving in the US tomorrow, so we won't be broadcasting on the US Open, but until Friday, happy charting. See you then.